And the situation remains tense at Columbia University, and that's where we find Alexis McAdams. Hello, Alexis.
Hi, Shannon. I have not left Columbia University, it feels like, in days because there are still protests out here and the investigations continue by the Trump administration. But out there in Massachusetts, that student taken into custody by ICE and the whole thing caught on camera. So that's just part of that arrest video. Ramesa Otzerk, who's on your screen, detained near her Somerville, Massachusetts house as ICE agents pulled in, arrested her. She's a Turkish national who is also a doctoral student at Tufts University. Protests near the school as people are demanding her release. Her legal team telling me, Shannon, they are not aware of any official charges at this time. She was reportedly not a leader of the pro-Palestinian movement at Tufts, but she did write an opinion essay. Okay, it was published last year, almost exactly a year ago, in the Tufts student newspaper, writing in part some things about criticizing the university for their lack of response, she says, and told the president they needed to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide. But now she has lost her visa. Why? Because DHS officials say supporting terrorism and supporting terrorists who kill Americans is grounds to get your visa pulled. Where is she now? Well, according to the online ICE locator, she's out in Louisiana at an ICE facility. It's not too far from the same place where Columbia activist Mahmoud Halil is being held. Despite a judge's ruling that she not be moved from Massachusetts, that's where she is now. So we're looking into that. Back out here live. The ICE crackdowns continue on campus with more arrests popping up. And we've done some reporting, Shannon, about this ongoing lawsuit by the families of Hamas hostages who are suing pro-Palestinian protesters here at Columbia, saying they knew about the October 7th attack before it even happens. We're trying to learn more about that lawsuit, Shannon.
All right, we look forward to hearing what you find out. Alexis, thank you very much. So for more, let's bring in Charles Love, Executive Director of Seeking Educational Excellence and co-host of the Cut the Bull podcast. Charles, good to see you today.
Great to be on. Great to see you again.
Okay, so where do we go from here? You have these protests now on campus. The neighbor whose surveillance camera caught that arrest of this Tufts student said it looked like a kidnapping. Does the administration run the risk of the optics of this turning against them while they're doing something that I think most Americans would support? If you can prove somebody is here and supporting protest terrorist activity, we don't want them here.
Well, they definitely run the risk of that, but I don't think they are too concerned about that, and they shouldn't be, in the sense that each case has to be taken individually. So we'll look at what she wrote and what the protesters are doing and kind of define whether it crosses the line. And I do know that there is some nuance there. So if you look at these two most prominent cases, I don't know, I didn't read her letter, so I don't know what she wrote. So it's a difference between saying we think what's happening in Palestine is a genocide, and in the other guy's case who openly said, death to the West, and he wants to, destroy the Western civilization. And I think that one is clearly a reason to not have that person in the country, and the other, you kind of have to look at it case by case.
And certainly we're seeing a difference in tone from these universities. Columbia University, where Alexis has been reporting, as she said, for a long time, clearly coming to an understanding with the Trump administration when they were set to lose hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding, that they will do a better job of cracking down on these anti-Semitic protests by anything that looks like it's supporting terrorist activity. What about other colleges? Will that be enough to sort of scare them into action, or do you think we're going to have to see more of these direct settlements and negotiations?
Well, it's going to be really interesting to see, because I don't feel, too much love lost for the administration in many of these cases, but they're in a pretty difficult predicament where on the one end they're trying to, kind of give in a bit because they know things have gone too far. And let's be honest, they probably want some help, someone they can blame it on and say it's not our fault, because they want to rein this in because they lost control. But at the same time, the students are still moving further down the road. Like in Columbia's case, the students and some of the professors are suing, the Trump administration administration at the same time the administration of the university is kind of, meeting with the administration and deciding to agree with some of those terms. So they're going around them. So they're stuck in the middle, kind of like, what do we want to allow and what do we not want to allow? But I will quickly say, I'm on the elected school board here in New York, apparently at CECs, and we've had activists every month, attacking us and things of that nature. They just celebrated their 1 year. Now, it's a difference between saying bad things to us and what we saw on those college campuses, attacking people, physically threatening them, blocking their access to school. So that can't be tolerated. So they have to stop that whether it agrees with Trump or not.
True. Okay, so there's also this. Violence against conservatives on college campuses is growing. A chapter president for Turning Point USA was apparently assaulted at the University of Texas in Dallas. This was captured on video and shared by the group's founder, Charlie Kirk. Here's a little bit of that. Listen in.
Go! Back up!
Oh, that's full assault.
Go! Back up!
Yeah, and what you see in that video there is apparently someone swinging what appears to be a pretty heavy bike lock at someone else. And that student who was on the receiving end of this recounted her ordeal on Fox last night.
I said 0 words to him at all. And so that's what's the most part that I don't understand is how can I say 0 words? I'm just tabling with my officers as I do every week. I said 0 words to him and he started attacking me. He swung the bike lock, it hit our table, our phones were destroyed, and my head was severely injured.
So that incident comes as we're seeing the dangerous trend of these swatting calls targeting conservative commentators and influencers. One author and columnist was woken up at 1 a.m. at his home in Alabama to officers, 3 of them with their guns drawn. Here's how he described how it went down.
I can only see silhouettes of them. And thanks to my dog, I saw them before they saw me. They came in, as they described it, blacked out, meaning no lights on their cars, no sirens. And here it is, 1:15 in the morning. I'm thinking I'm about to be in a firefight. This is definitely terrorism. And this is an attempt to use local law enforcement as proxy assassination squads.
Yeah, and we know that it puts the law enforcement officer in danger as well. Every one of them was called to these events. But Charles, to the campus idea and to the swatting, have we just gotten to a point where people cannot tolerate a viewpoint different than their own?
Yeah, these are terrible crimes and they need to be prosecuted as such. And it goes beyond, obviously it's more of a political ideology and they're basing this on the person's political views, but it goes beyond that. It wasn't that long ago that they were calling parents who cared about what happened to their kids in school domestic terrorists. And now we're at a point that because you don't like someone's views, you're okay with violent and criminal activity. That's completely insane. And as you say, swatting people is not the same as, it's not just, like that gentleman said, a possible assassination attempt. You're threatening neighbors, bullets can go through windows, you're threatening local police. It's a violent situation. And same thing with attacking the cars, attacking owners of a Tesla because you don't like Elon Musk, as if the owners are violent. This has got to be stopped.
Yeah. All right, Charles, we appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.